A while ago I was coming back from London on the train, and as I got onto the train I realised that actually it was absolutely packed. There was standing room only. I looked down the corridor to see whether there was a seat, and of course there didn't seem to be any seats in sight, except for one seat, right next to a man that looked like he was really quite the worse for wear. He looked dishevelled, he looked unkempt, he looked like he'd been drinking, and nobody, it seemed, wanted to sit in the seat next to him. Well, having been stood up for quite a long time, I decided that I was going to take the risk, so I sat down. He sort of looked at me and grunted. I looked at him and realised that he was a pretty tough dude. He was muscular, he was bronzed, he had tattoos up his arms. He wasn't the sort of person that you'd want to meet on a dark night, if I'm honest. We sat there. He didn't say anything to me. I didn't really say anything to him. And the train started out of the station. We'd been on the train, I guess, for about 45 minutes or so, and then the announcement came that they were having to reroute the train through Bath. It wasn't going to go to Bristol Parkway as it normally does. He looked at me and said, "Do you have any idea, mate, what time it's going to get into Newport?" And I said to him, quite honestly, I didn't have a clue. It was probably going to be something like another 40 minutes or so. He looked really quite distraught. And I said to him, "You look as if you've been on this train for quite a long time." And he said, "Man, I really have. I got on the train at York thinking that I was coming across country to Newport, only to realise I was on the wrong train and ended up in London. I've been travelling for most of the day." I said to him, "Whoa, that's pretty incredible. Why are you going to Newport?" He said, "Well, tomorrow I've got a hearing in Birmingham to see whether I can get custody of my child." I said, "Goodness gracious me, but why Newport?" He said, "I've got some friends there that hopefully are going to encourage me and give me some advice so that I know what to do." I forgot to say that he had a South African accent. I said to him, "So why are you actually going for custody of your child?" He said, "Well, it's a bit of a long story, but my wife and I, she's from South Wales, came back from South Africa because she was feeling a bit homesick and missing her family. We came over here, having got all of our life savings together. And when we got here, she told me that she was leaving me, and that if I wanted to stand any chance of seeing my child again, I would leave her and the family alone. What she also said to me was that if I wanted to see my child, then I had to give her all the money in our bank account." And then he told me how much it was. It was a lot of money. I said to him, "That's outrageous. What are you going to do?" He said, "Well, what choice have I got? I've got to fight for my child. I would give anything to be able to have access and a relationship with my child. I don't want to see her abandoned." Now, I thought that was a pretty amazing conversation. Here was a man who was willing to give everything he owned in order that he might have access to the one he loved. I said to him, "Look, I'm a Christian, and I don't know whether you are religious or not, but actually I believe in the power of prayer. Would you mind if I prayed for you?" He said that he wouldn't mind that at all. "Any help I can get," he said. So I said to him, "Would you mind if I prayed for you right now in this crowded train?" He said, "Yeah, that would be great." So I prayed for him. I prayed that God might grant him wisdom, that God might bring about reconciliation, and that he might have the opportunity to see his child and to spend time with that child. Conversation moved on to other things, and that was the end. A pretty heavy conversation, I think you'll probably agree, but an opportunity to share something of the love of God in practical ways. As he was getting off the train, he turned round to me, he put his hand on my shoulder, and with a tear in his eye, he said, "Thank you so much, mate. I will always appreciate what you said." And he walked away. It was humbling, because I hadn't actually said very much. But it obviously had made a difference. Here's an opportunity to be light in a dark situation. Here was an unexpected opportunity to share something of faith and of Christ and of love. Who would have thought that a man that nobody wanted to sit next to would have turned out to be such a man and such an opportunity?